So getting older is interesting. Justin here. As a few of you know, I recently turned 40, May 31st of 2026. As I'm recording this, it was about two-ish weeks ago. And there have been some interesting side effects that I want to talk about. So the weekend itself was phenomenal. It was full of friends, food, movies. That whole week I got packages in the mail from friends, online friends, just commemorating the occasion. But couple that with this overwhelming desire to disappear, to not be perceived. I run an Instagram channel with about 1,000 subscribers, and every week, every couple of weeks, I would post outfits of the day and thrifted finds and selfies. And it's the last place on earth I want to be. I just became so embarrassed of this vapid space. Okay, so on one hand, I'm thinking, I can't believe you ever sought external validation from people in that way. You know, folks, there were times, sometimes I would go buy an outfit just for Instagram, you know. And then on the other hand, I said to myself, you don't want to stay too late to the party. You're 40 years old, you only gained 1,000 subscribers. Now, 1,000 people is 1,000 people. But in my twisted and warped, mentality, it's like, you don't have much reach, and I don't think it's going to grow in your 40s as you get older and shrivel up and your ideas become less fresh. So why not let that go? Why not let the purchasing of clothing, the staging of photo shoots and things like that, why not let that go and transition into a new chapter? But then, part of that also feels like giving up. Getting on here to record this video was an act of defiance. And so I wonder if anybody else has, gone through that transition, or that feeling. It's basically a classic midlife crisis. Earlier this year, I tried to sell my house to get out of the stability that I'm in, to try to get back into an apartment lifestyle, thinking it's going to give me more freedom to move around if I need to switch jobs, if I want to, move out of state. But basically, I think I was running from the stability that I've built. I live in the suburbs of Dallas. I bought a home 4 years ago. I'm settled, I'm stable, and I think turning 40, that scared me. And I'm like, how do I shake this up and create and invent a different life for myself? And thank goodness, knock on wood, at the last minute, the financing for the buyer fell through. And I just decided to pull the home off of the market because I'm like, why are you giving away your home? To go back to a more unstable and transient lifestyle. I think part of it, so that I think was midlife crisis, trying to get back to a gypsy hippie lifestyle. Give me some examples of your midlife crises below. I should have seen it coming, and as much as they talk about it in popular media, it happened to me. I'm having this midlife crisis. There's also this thing of isolation at 40. Everyone goes through it. Your circle, when you're young, when you're in your teens and in your 20s, your social group is just explosive. And you can't take everyone with you. And as you grow and as you age through your 30s, you start to lose all of these, childhood and lifelong friendships and relationships, and build new ones. My new circle is full of wonderful and supportive people, but there's still a bittersweet aspect of losing so many of my childhood friends and connections and party mates, and folks that I had to leave kind of in a more stagnant place. And so I think there's been some shame or some guilt in moving into this part of my life without those people. I think I tried to cling or hold and people please onto those people for so long. And the fact that, it didn't work out, that I was not cunning or smart enough or interesting enough or compelling enough to bring them along with me. I think I do hold some, some bittersweet feelings about it. Am I grateful that I'm here? Am I grateful that the things that I preached and taught and probably got on my friends' nerves about have come to fruition in my life? Yes. But I don't prize leaving people behind. I don't think anybody does. So I think that's another aspect of turning 40, transitioning with a much smaller circle, a much more focused circle. But I will tell you, I spent a lot more time talking to family than I did before. When my social circle was so wide, I couldn't think about my family members selfishly. But now, I spend hours each week talking to family and people that are close to me, and just kind of building more genuine connections. And so I think life is just naturally maturing me, naturally refining me. And it's hard. You fight against that. You want to stay young, you want to stay vibrant, you want to stay interesting. But that's just, it's not the nature of things. So I don't know what settled means for me, and I think that's another aspect of it. I've always lived a gypsy lifestyle where it was always on to the next thing, on to the next job, on to the next relationship, on to the next friendship. And so to be sitting at this point of life with friends that I've had for 5 or 6 years, a home that I've had for 4 or 5 years, a career that I've had for 6 or 7 years, getting into this stage of stability. They don't tell you how violent and shaky it is to settle into that when your norm has been vibrancy and chaos. And it's like people that grow up in NYC and they sleep better with the sirens, with the police in the background, with the helicopters. That's me. I'm a person that has lived on adrenaline, going 100 miles an hour. And finally getting to know me is, I think, the scariest part of that. Who am I when I'm not running from something, And am I a kind person? Am I a patient person? So I am. I'm looking forward to this new chapter. I do want to get more into self-care, more into exercise, more into fitness. But I'm hoping that motivation comes. Right now I'm still stuck in that icky phase of, oh my God, I still wish I was a Twitch streamer. Oh my God, all I want to be seen in is Laura Piana linens and Italian summer and mature things. That's the only thing that makes sense. And this conflicting back and forth of what I should do, how I should live, But that's what being right in the middle is. Which way do you go? I think ultimately it makes more sense to lean to the right, to maturing, to linens and brushed cottons and twills. And, that's where my style has been evolving to. And embracing that and learning to love that about me, because that's in me. I'm not an LA Erewhon video game influencer. I never have been. I've always had kind of an older soul, kind of a hippie arts and crafts spirit. And so giving myself, I think, permission to finally be me and not be cosplaying something is, I don't know. Obviously I'm rambling, obviously I'm saying a lot, but it's about settling authentically and naturally into this era or stage of life and figuring out what that is. I Googled and I'm like, because I kept saying I want to live in California, I want to live in LA. The job market out there is so vibrant. Where is a bigger job market than having Hollywood and bioscience and banking and this and that and city government? Where else could you go? But I was recently Googling, and Dallas is the boom town. That's where all the Fortune 500 companies are going. What has happened is life, the waves of migration, the waves of career, restaurants, trends, everything has converged where I am. Do you hear what I'm saying? I spent so much time looking out, trying to figure out where to go next, trying to figure out where that thing was. And what's happening in this chapter of my life is that everything is converging where I am. That Dallas and the north suburbs, that's the boom town. That's where everything is coming to. That's where all the companies are coming. That's where the new suburban lifestyle experiences are and the lifestyle centers. Everything that I'm attuned to. And so I think if peace is being thrown at me, I've got to figure out how to stop running, Any advice? Are you all going through this? Have you gone through this in your late 30s, 40s, 50s? I know it's midlife crisis, But how did you get through? What was the resolution? Were there specific turning points in your life where you said, I'm done thinking about the rat race, I'm done thinking about that? Or did it just gradually happen over time? So this has been my chat about turning 40. It's a work in progress. I hope you found something about this interesting. I hope you can share your perspectives, some of the things that you've been through in life. And, I hope to film more. I hope to be comfortable and get to a space where I can just come on and share my thoughts and feelings, not through the lens of what I look like, that I'm aging, that this, that, that I can just come on and be me. And so that is my hope for my 40s, is to let go of that inner voice, figure out how to, and to live in the peace that is being hoisted, that is being granted to me. So hope you enjoyed. Until our next chat, I've been Justin. Please give this video a like, a comment, and please consider subscribing if you like content like this. If you found me interesting, and until our next conversation, have a great day.